Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 120 of a Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Okay, y'all, we have some fun things to talk about, one of which is a finished object. I'm excited to talk about this one, and I'm excited to also talk about some whips. I have two new cast-ons, woohoo. One of which, not surprising, is socks. I'm going to talk about some of our older whips. I've got books, just all the normal stuff. So hi, if you're new here, welcome to my little corner of the internet where we talk about all things fibery goodness. What I'm wearing, whips, spin. Oh, I have a finished spin also. If there's other crafting projects, I don't typically do much else besides knitting, spinning, and crocheting, but sometimes other things sneak in there. And then I also talk about books that I've read this week. I'm a big reader. I do a lot of audiobook reading while I'm knitting, and also other topics that may come up. This week, I don't really have that many other things, so let's just get right into it. Today, I am wearing my newly finished Elton pullover. I will stand up in 1 second, but just as a reminder, this is a pattern by Joji KAL, who's Joji Cat on Instagram and other various places. She is hosting a KAL right now. You had to have start and finish the KAL. I think it was like the beginning of September and then till the end of November. And I did, in that time period, start this, and now it's done. 1 week before, 10 days before the deadline. I finished on the 16th, so like 2 weeks, which is pretty good. I will take pictures today, and then I'll post them on Ravelry and get my Ravelry page done, and then I'll post them in the channel, and I think I have like a form to fill out. Not really sure. I've never been part of her knit along before. I don't even know if she's hosted one before, but I thought it'd be a fun time to get this knit because I wanted to knit anyway, so it just like popped up in my queue a little bit earlier. So I'm going to stand up and then we can talk about all the things about it. I don't think I'll readjust today. So you can see the whole sweater. It's so cute. Okay, here we are. It is drop shouldering on me for sure. Not maybe about as much as the sample, but because the arms are a little bit bigger, I'm able to have the arms like maybe in a slightly more comfortable place than the sample. I'll flash the picture of the sample up here really quick so you can see maybe what I'm talking about is like those shoulders pulled down just a tad bit more. I think the gauge is about the same. So I think I'm pretty on gauge for this. I did block to 56 inches. So that's what I did for the other one as well, because this is supposed to be blocked wider. Okay, now sample's gone or whatever, but here it is. So I think that my sleeves end up being a tad bit longer. I don't know, that's about the same. Oh, this one's rolled up, sorry, because I just cut my ends. But I just went like, I was knitting on them and doing the decreases, and I decided I wanted one extra decrease. As I said last week, I picked up the size 5 sleeve. This is a size 4 overall. We'll go through the measurements and stuff, but I picked up a size 5 sleeve. And that gave me a little bit more room, because that was my one thing when I made this as a sample, which is what I popped up for La Mercerie last summer. I was like, oh, actually, I think this is really cute and I want one. So I put it in my queue, but I didn't, that was the note I made to myself, is I thought that this was too tight of a thing. So I just knit a couple more rows. I think I knit to like 1 full inch longer in front and back. And then it allowed me to pick up at the same rate of pickup as suggested, 1 size bigger. Like exactly, which was nice. But then I actually decreased to, I think it was supposed to be like 72 or 68 was a size 4, 72 a size 5 sleeve. And I actually just decreased to 70. It's a 1x1 knit, so it doesn't matter for the ribbing. So I just did 1 extra decrease, and that made my sleeves a tad bit longer, but they're still clearly like not, like, especially as I'm moving, they're still clearly like not bracelet length. They are like 3/4-ish. Which I think is cute. And with how light this is, that feels appropriate, but it's still, because of the mohair, not a summer shirt in my opinion. Like this is a transitional shirt for sure. So yeah, here we are. It's so cute. It's really fun. I did have 1 drop stitch, which I fixed. And I'm going to tell you guys this because this is part of knitting, right? I was knitting this a lot while I was watching other things or during meetings. So I did have a boo-boo. Oh, I don't know where it is, actually. It's on this side somewhere. Well, that's good. I can't really find it. But there's a boo-boo some here in one of these blue stitches where I dropped a column of stitches. I didn't even drop the column. for somehow I just like laddered 2 stitches. So there's 2 rows that are just not existing, but the stitch in the first and the stitch in the 4th row exist. Whoops, my bad. So it's really hard to fix those types of things because and I noticed it after, like when I was blocking it. I went back and I was like trying to weave in around it and stuff, but it was just like, you could still see the cross of the laddered stitch from 1 to 4. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it. Design feature. This is, you know, they say there's like the old proverb that's like where your like, so your spirit doesn't get stuck in the thing or whatever. So anyway, but I do have an actual live drop stitch, and I was looking for it before blocking, it was like during my first row of ribbing, I realized I had an odd number. So I did just a decrease 1 at the end of the row, and I was like, but where is the drop stitch? Because this should be an even number of stitches. I could not find it. It was a mohair stitch, and it was really stuck to the other one. So until I washed it, it popped out when I was blocking, and I was like, okay, that one I fixed, no big deal. Also not one that's easy to find. So here we are. Anyway, just so you know, knitting is not a perfect sport. We're all on a road to progress, and also sometimes things happen. It's not a big deal. So I'm gonna oh, let me show you the back, and you can see here too, this is so hard to tell live. In person you can see that there's a difference between the 2 fabrics. You can a little bit see that there are stripes, but in person you can truly tell, like, yeah, there, that it does look different. But this like top section is where all the short rows are for both the neckline shaping and for the like the front neck shaping in the back. So here it is. I really love it. I think it's very cute, and I think I will wear it during these, like, feels pretty comfortable today in my office. It's not too cold today. I don't always say the date, but today is Thursday, November 20th. And so this is, you know, maybe a little past transitional season here. I feel like the month of October is transitional season for us, sometimes September. Sometimes it's really warm. Sometimes you just get cold days. And I feel like this would be good for those cold days. Let's talk about like yarn and other things, measurements, etc. I liked where this was sitting on my hips too. This is a rather longer, like for being a drop shoulder, I think sometimes the bodies are really short on those, and like this is a longer pattern. I mean, it's written more like a full length and then a cropped version of a sweater, which I appreciated, and I liked the look of in my sample. That gives me also the ability to wear this like with any pants I have, and because it's like flowy and it's not really hot, I think it's a good choice for this one. So my bust is 56 inches. That's correct. The full length of this for me is 22.5 inches. I'm going to put these measurements in Ravelry too, so you can see them. The body is like 14.5 inches, maybe a little bit more. The arm circumference ended up being closer to 14.5 inches, which is good because this was the thing. It was like very small previously. The cuff, however, unstretched is something like 7 inches. This is really hard to, sometimes I like to stretch it a little bit so it's like on my arms, but, and it does, I think, stretch out a little like while it's on my forearm, but it doesn't feel like it's tight. Do you know what I mean? What else do I have to tell you is yeah, that's kind of it. There's not a lot of drop between the front and the back, so I didn't really do that measurement. So yes, those are the measurements. Oh, my sleeve length from the underarm to the end of the sleeve is 12 inches, which again, with the drop and it being 3/4, it's like a weird measurement to get to, but like that's what it is. And I didn't measure the cuff. She just said knit like 15 rows or something like that, and that's what I did. I did do tubular bind offs for everything instead of just a Italian sewn bind off, so I did the full 3 steps, which was fine, and I felt like worth it for the finishing of this. My neckline, like I said before in last episode, I thought it was kind of close, but this does look like more like my sample than when I had like pre-blocking. So I did stretch this a little bit, and I pinned the body to size because again, you have to kind of like, I probably didn't have to pin it. Like it would have just done that with drying, but I did pin it to dry. Let's do a really quick rating. So obviously I've made this pattern before and I liked it enough as a sample that I decided to make it for myself. So I think that maybe tells you enough stuff. I think that it's, you know, well written. There's kind of a lot of stuff happening in the join at the top between like making the little like U shape that you make at the top and the back before you join the shoulders and do that. Like there's a lot going on, but it goes pretty quickly, and then it's just lots of stockinette. I do think the stripes make it very potato chippy. You're just like, oh, I want to do one more stripe, no big deal. The sleeves go super fast, obviously being short and being stripes. It's like nothing. And then the actual bottom ribbing is only like 7 or 8 rows or something. And then you do the tubular bind off. So like not a big deal. I felt like it was an enjoyable knit both times. This was really different because that was a contrasting colors and this is all one, which I said I didn't like from Hohi's example, but I actually like really love it because I want to add more stripe things to my wardrobe. I do love stripes. I only have like 2 or 3 things. Honestly, I would probably do it. Like it was so low yarn. Like I would do it again in a striped thing or with like more than one color stripe would be fun. The nice thing about the 2 colors is because there's only 4 rows between, you don't have to cut your yarn. So it's like really easy to carry it, and it makes that way more enjoyable because there's not that many ends to weave in. This also didn't take a lot of yarn, so there was not that many ends to weave in. So my total for both of them is 1,276 yards. My fingering took up 736 yards, which was, in this case for this yarn, it was like a 437 maybe, so for 100 grams, so it was like 1.6 skeins almost, so not that bad. And then the mohair, I had a little bit of overage in my first mohair skein, and I have bits of both because I used this one, this huge looking one, for the sleeves. This is all the sleeves took. This one is what I used for the body, and I still had some left over. Not a lot. There's only a little bit in here. Collectively, I did have to break into the second one either way, so I could have pulled from the middle and then like actually use the full of the first skein, but whatever. I used 1.8 skeins of 4. Again, this one's like 437 for 50 grams. So it was like 58 grams of yarn total. Okay, so that's the stats on that. So pattern, this is a 5-star for me. I just really love it. I think there's, it's a fingering of mohair, single strand of mohair, and there is a little bit of that when you're knitting it, but like overall, I really enjoyed making it both times. And the yarn is fine. I mean, we'll see how it wears. I don't have a lot of like single mohair stuff. I also don't use mohair as much as I do Surrey. Like I have a preference for Surrey for sure. And I think this would be really great in those lighter Surreys also. I don't know that I would do this necessarily with the thicker Surreys because then you don't get the contrast. It would just be really floofy, those floofy rows. I guess you could do that. Whatever floats your boat, man. But I would maybe do it with like Witch Fire Fibers has a really light Surrey, and so does like Paisley Knits and some other dyers. And like, I think there's some commercial ones, like Berenice is actually, I think, a Surrey plus wool. That one was pretty thick. That's what I used for the sample. So anyway, all this to say, go forth and conquer. Make your own. She also has a t-shirt version that is like a v-neck. I would totally make a v-neck version of this. This was actually, maybe that would be my thing, is I would probably prefer to do a v-neck. I still like the length of the sleeves on this. I think the T version maybe is shorter, but like I think I would maybe like do this. Anyway, there we are. Things for you to know. Okay, let's do progress. Actually, let's do my spin update first. I did finish my Christmas sock spin. So if you're new here, or just as you need a reminder, I am doing a Christmas sock spin along with friends. Sorry, my kid was playing with this earlier. Don't let babies play with skeins of yarn. I mean, she's not a baby, she's a toddler, but she was just talking about how beautiful she thought the red was, which was very nice of her. But she did get her finger in this, so I have like one string that is very loose. Okay, let's not worry about it. This is a spin I'm doing with five of us total. We are all going to spin the yarn from fiber in whatever manner that we want, but knit socks together, and our cast on, and also whatever pattern we want, our cast on is Christmas Eve. We did this last year and it was really fun. This year I think everyone's actually going to have their yarn done. I think Maya's done or close to done plying. Ariel's done. I am done. Katie is well on her way to being done, and so is Emily. So those are the five of us that are doing this, and I'm really excited for us to all to be able to like cast these on together. So I think we'll all make it. But it turned out really well. I brought this to knit night because 3 or 4 of the 5 of us were there who are spinning this, so they could see it, and it turned out really lovely. It's very like pink coated over here, but I think it looks Christmassy to me. It's like that kind of like 90s Christmas vibe where it's like the like pinky teal you know, white kind of colors. There's not white in this, but I am not going to use a contrasting color. I think I'll probably do the DRK Everyday Socks with just all one skein. I did get a fingering weight. There's a couple pieces that are like a little bit plumper, but overall it is a pretty nice fingering weight. So I will do yardage once I skein this up like the week before Christmas. So I can tell you what that is then before I start. But yeah, I love it. I think it's really cute. Let me just wrap it up for you. I like to look at it that way in an actual skein. Yeah, it's cute little baby. Like that to me looks very Christmassy. I think when you pull it apart, it's just like berry red or pinkish. And so, but that looks so Christmassy. So I'm really excited for this. To do some socks. Yeah, I think they'll be nice. This is a Shanico silk blend. So it's 80% Shanico wool and 20% silk. And the silk, I didn't mention this really. I had a great time spinning that because the silk is super blended throughout. So even when I was splitting it apart, in even the really small bits, there was silk in all of it. So I feel like it's equally pretty shiny. It was not hard to ply with, and I was going pretty thin. I didn't get like a lot of like, sometimes with silk, it's really, really sticky and it's hard to like pull apart, and it's small. So like staple length. So then when you pull it, like it'll split. This was just like really blended throughout and really, really easy to spin. So suggest that if you're looking for a nylon alternative to spin your own socks and you don't want just non-superwash, you want the silk for strength. That was a great blend. Oh, I didn't even talk about this really. We'll see how it knits up. I think this, when you say it, it doesn't mean anything when you see it like in a skein or wound up, but I did do a fractal spin for that, and I did 4-9. Unevenly split, which was fine, a 4-9. And so I'm gonna have some short repeats of color, but I'll have some pretty long repeats of color in there. So I'm interested to see, because like Ariel did like a 2-4-6, I think, but she did a fractal spin. But with the 3-ply, I'm wondering if the 2 just makes it look like really long color repeats for that, like if that is dominant enough, or if the 3 mellows it out. So we'll kind of see what everybody's thing ends up looking like. They're all going to look really different, but I think they'll all look like a little family still. We never took a picture of ourselves in our socks. Everyone has done their socks from last year. So hopefully we can like get together sometime in the new year and take a picture of both pairs of socks. 2024 and 2025 Christmas socks. So anyway, here's my crosshatch hacked. I'm close to done, everybody. I will be done by next week because I've made a decision. I need to find my last Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino skein. I don't know where it is, but I will find it. B, I'm just going to be done on Tuesday. That's my decision. I will be done wherever I am. I will be done on Tuesday. C, I did a ton, and I measured this, and I am at like 74. No, with what I added last night, I'm at almost 78 inches. When Emily and I talked about this, I think she said she knit hers to about that, and she got like 96 from it. Like it was quite a lot of stretch. I really won't stretch this out very much, and I do maybe want to give myself a tiny bit more width, so I don't think I'll get as much length from it, though it will block to be bigger. Brioche always does. It relaxes the stitches both directions, so I will get more, but I think I'll get a little less than her. So I think I still want to knit into my knitting. Well, and also I finished the black skein, and I need to finish the 2 rows of bind off, so I'm gonna have to find that other black skein. I think I'd like to knit another, like, I'd like to get close to like, because I really want to have like close to 100 inches, I think, on this. So I would really like to knit pretty close to 90, and if I have more than 100, that's great. I want a long drapey thing. I want something maybe I can wrap twice that will be like softer and more relaxed than this is currently. It's not that it's not soft, it's very soft, but you know, it's very toothy wools, both of these. Well, the Euless is. Okay, so progress. Sorry to talk about all of that before introducing it. This is the Crosshatch Hacked. It's a pattern inspired by Jerry Flood's Crosshatch. I am not using pattern. I did not buy the pattern from him. I did not read it or know anything about it other than it's a 2-color brioche scarf, and I am doing my own thing because I know his edgings are different because Emily told me that, but I didn't get the pattern, and so was his bind on and off. So my cast on was just a tubular cast on, and I will just do a tubular cast off so that I will have the same look for the ends in black. Oh, I used 55 stitches. I have 2 like I-cordy type stitches on like a 2-stitch I-cord on either side, which was my big struggle casting on. How do I get it to look nice edgewise? I woven all my ends except for this one, which I made last night. But I woven all the ends before that. So I'm like really going to be good to go as soon as I block this bad boy. I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited to have it, and I want it to be done before Thanksgiving. So Tuesday's the day. If not, like even earlier in the week, if I just have time to work on this. I got so much done this week though, just working on it 2 days. So it wasn't even that long. I really just focused on this for 2 days. And that wasn't even the only thing I knit those nights. It was just like the predominant thing. So that's where I am. Shall be done next week. Thank goodness. I hate to break it to you. I did not work on my oversized seasons cardigan again. I need to get into it. I have a couple days off around Thanksgiving. Obviously Thanksgiving. Thankfully, we also have Friday. I'm taking Wednesday off because I have to prep some stuff and do cooking. So it's really not going to be a knitting day. But hopefully I'll get some extra stuff done on like Thursday and Friday. And one of those things will hopefully be working on that in a concentrated manner. It's just like, I feel like it takes a little bit more energy because I have to be very gentle with the yarn, and I've not had the headspace to be there. And so, you know what? I prioritize other things, and that is okay. Like this one, which was really the most chill knit. It was so chill. So, I also got a ton done on my other cardigan, partly because while I would like my seasons cardigan to be done this year, that would be amazing. I don't have a deadline for that. I don't have a deadline for anything really on my needles. I have no test knits right now. This is all just like, oh, la time for me and deadlines I'm setting. But this one is my Mila cardigan, and this is on my Make 9. And I would actually like my Make 9 to be done this year. Even just the one for me. I have to delay on some of the other ones for my gift Make 9, which there's one I've sort of abandoned. I've made way more gifts than that, so I could just insert something else in there. And then just a moosh friend for Theo. Yeah, so all that to say, I want this done by the end of the year, so I'm going to prioritize this a little bit. Plus, I had a great time working on it this week, so I'd like to talk about that. This is my Mila cardigan by Sorry Nordland. I really got so much done this week. Okay, so this is the right side, which is the first side you pick up. So last week I was here and I needed to, oh my gosh, I had so few rows, like 7 or 8 to finish before I needed to cut the yarn and go to the other side. So I did that, picked up the other side, and I just knit almost all of it in one go. I don't know what side the ends need to be on. I'm going to have to be like really careful about sewing them in because they can go on either side. So I'm going to just make it really neat. I have not decided I can flip them both to the back or the front. I think I probably will wear this on this side more often because it's a more unique and fun cable pattern than this side. This side is also very beautiful. So I'll just have to be really careful when I weave those in, which is fine. All that to say, ignore these ends. So I did finally finish one ball of yarn I picked up with my second, and I also have this from the back. It was so little that I was like, it's going to make, I wanted less woven ends like right in this area where you see a lot. So I decided to just keep this for picking up a sleeve. Anyway, I'll loop it into the front. I've got like it on barber cord and woven through here, so it's not pulling on the work. This is my tip and trick. To keep yarn balls connected and out of the way. And then I joined in the body, and I did all of this in like one night. That's the only thing I knit, like Saturday night maybe. I just killed it. I'm like gonna pat myself on the back for that because I thought it was gonna take me a lot longer. And then I got like, maybe the ball of yarn, and then I had to go downstairs and get a ball of yarn, which I did not do that night. Next night, or on Monday night maybe, yeah, but maybe it was Monday night, I picked up the new ball of yarn and I just like connected in the round, and I did quite a lot. Then I did more of this at knit night. I actually did probably like 12 or something rows at knit night, which was great, like a whole pattern repeat maybe. And it looks really good. It's so good. It's so good how she got the pattern to continue all the way around. This is a drop shoulder. There is not a lot of stitches to pick up. Because I picked slightly smaller size, I do think I'm going to have to just really pay attention to my sleeves. I might need to make them a little bit longer because I'm not going to have quite as much drop, which is fine because that's something I can try on. I am connected to this much yarn, and I think I'm going to finish all of this yarn and then I'll go to sleeves. It's not going to give me a ton more body, but if I'm a lot less than 4 inches, I can't be because I've got to be pretty close to 3 right now. So I think I'll be close to 4 inches, which is enough for me to try this on 4 sleeves. So I think that's what I will do next to kind of get those out of the way. And because I like to do that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. If that feels like too much energy because I do have to like count stitches and all this kind of stuff this weekend, which we do have like a family early Thanksgiving with Mike's big extended family. So I maybe will not want to do that. So maybe I'll just work on the body, which is fine. Also, always fine. Do whatever is going to make your crafting time enjoyable to you. Quick note on that is I'm making a size 5, which is 49¼ inches. As I said, the recommended ease is 4¼ to 6 inches. I'm just under the recommended ease, like 3¾ inch ease or so. Depends on what day you talk to me. Then it's 4mm needles and it's Explorer Knits Earthy DK in the color Squim. I love this color. It's such a beautiful gray-y purple. It's slightly grayer on the earthy than in like Denali sock, but not crazy. And I think it really fits the vibe. It's one of the Washington colors, like her Seattle collection. And you know, I love Squim, been there many times. And so yeah, love it. Think it's great. Okay. That is that. Now I have 2 new cast-ons because this was the only other thing on the needles, you guys. I am not a lot of projects deep right now. This is a better place for me to be. It's a better headspace. I feel a little less like, not panicked, but like I don't know what to work on because there's so many things to work on when I have a little less. I do have 2 new cast-ons, but now if Crosshatch will be done soon, the Mila is going great. And then the oversized seasons, and I cast on another cardigan. I only have 3 cardigans on the needles for myself. That's it. I will probably throw a t-shirt in there pretty soon because like I said, I wanted a t-shirt in, and I'm going to call this transitional thing like t-shirt-ish. So now I want an actual t-shirt. It'll be the flare tee. That'll be the next thing that goes on the needles. And so I need to get that done. And it's a really small gauge. This is the thing that stopped me this week, as I was like, I have to knit this on like a 2.75 or a 2.25. Like it's a small needle. And I was like, can I do it? I can. I just have to get there. It's a really bright and exciting blue, so I will start working on it. Okay, but I cast on another blue thing. Okay, I want to talk about this one first. I did also cast on my sock, so don't worry. We're making progress. I pulled this out at knit night, and this is what I said. Now, I remember I told you I didn't order this yarn color on purpose. It is a beautiful color. It has like some really nice depth and variegation. This is it in the skein form. This is the cake. And this is a partially used cake, right? When I wound it up, it's much more yellow than I thought. And I told you this last week, so I wanted to try the blue. I pulled this out at knit night, and I was like, this is not a me color. This is not a me color. Even with the teal and the dark blue in there, it's just too predominantly yellow. It's not something I gravitate to. It's not something I really like. Think I would like knit up. I used the blue mohair, the Drops blue mohair, and I am so glad I did because this is beautiful. It's beautiful. Can you believe the difference? Shall we hold it up again? From this, which I think this is even a better for you to see. From this to this. It's so much bluer. It cooled the whole, like, you can see how much yellow is in here. It cooled this whole thing down so much. So I'm really loving this. I'm glad I made this choice. This was the right choice for me. So here we are. I hope I have enough mohair. I'm to be honest, it may not be enough, and that's going to be okay. We'll figure that out when we get there. But I really love that we're doing the button band at the same time. So I'll be able to like make adjustments if I need to, but I really think I might be okay. I just like I didn't honestly, I was like, I think I have a sweater quantity of this mohair, and I didn't look at any numbers, but I was like, I'm just going to swatch and try it on. And then try it out, and I really liked it so much. I just cast on. So cast on with abandon, figure it out later. That's okay. So here it is. Let me talk you through a little bit of the beginning of this pattern. Again, this is the Kal Cardigan by Claire Jackson, who is perfectly knotted. I've tested it for Claire Jackson a ton. I really love her patterns. This is actually one of her older patterns, so this does not have any tables. She transitioned to that maybe in like 2023, end of the year. Maybe this came out like just right before. So it does not have that, but every number is colored, like color coded. So I just have to look for, because I have decided to do size 4, I have to look for actually it's very close to this color. So that was like, fine. I still went and circled most of them through the pattern. Okay, like I said last week, this is supposed to have 20 to 30% inches of positive ease at your full bust. So if my full bust is 45 inches, we want like 9 to 13.5 inches, but like, I don't like things with 12 inches or more of ease on me. I don't even like things with 9 inches of positive ease on me. That's just too drapey for myself. So I cast on a size 4, which is 50 inches. The fit for the bust is recommended as 40 to 42 inches. I'm in the next size. That size would have been 56 inches with, which again, that's 11 inches. That's too much. I don't want it. So I did this one. I do think I'm going to be a little off gauge. So I think I might be closer to like 52 all said and done, which is okay with me. So this is where we are. I love it. Okay. This was really fun to start too. So you start with a half brioche, and half brioche is an interesting thing to do. So you do like it's just that every other stitch is a regular rib. And then you have brioche. So you have a regular rib row and a brioche row, which is like kind of weird, but also really fun to do. And I really enjoy it. So, and you do, as I said, collar as you go, which is really amazing. And it's so fluffy and nice. Like it's really great. So you basically do, it's very like moon set. Like if you've made any kind of moon set from, well, I don't know if all of them. If you've made the moon set tee, at least you do, and the field day cardigan, you do some ribbing, or in this case, the half brioche, you do some collar essentially. And then you stop at one row of collar and you pick up across the back, and then you pick up the other row of collar, and then you're knitting them at the same time. I think that's how it works in the moon set, that you're knitting them at the same time. That maybe just the increases are different. Is the moon set a raglan? Yeah, I think it is. So and for sure the field day is, because like this is not a raglan. So the difference is that she's doing the decreases on the side of one shoulder line. So it's one shoulder seam that has like the brioche, it's a half brioche still, down like one brioche column essentially, but you're doing brioche increases. So you're doing a knit into a stitch, yarn over, knit into a stitch to do a double increase for each of those. So you're doing the double increase and you're not needing then to have 2 rows of this, right? It's an interesting way to do it. I think it's going to look pretty nice. It'll give that increase row, because it has the yarn overs, like it gives it like a more open look. But I don't think that'll be bad on the shoulder. So it's a new thing to try. It'll be something fun to do. But anyway, I'm loving how this is coming along. I am like deeply into the first large set of increases. And so I've got several more repeats of that. But the gauge is pretty open. So it won't take me very long to get to done the increases and needing to figure out, like at some point you need to break apart the front and back for sleeves. I don't know how that's going to work on this. So we shall see. Or sort of what happens. I don't know. It might be that you just like put some of the front stitches on hold and then do increases separately at some point. I'll tell you next week, because hopefully I'll be there. So really, really happy with that color choice, change on my part, and happy that I got really close to gauge. Unblocked, I was like, with the size 5mm needles, which is what's recommended in the pattern, it feels like it may block out to be like a half a stitch larger in gauge. I did not block it, but I knit it and I was like just under, I think it's 18 stitches per 4 inches. And I was just under that. So I had like 18.5 stitches. So knowing that that's going to block out a little bit, like I just don't think it'll grow very much. So good. Perfect. Now let's talk about socks. My second cast on of the week is a little pair of toddler socks. We love some toddler socks here. Okay, so this is more white birch fiber arts. I think that they're actually back up and dyeing, but don't quote me on that. If they are, I'll link below. But self-striping yarn in the colorway Parties Weren't Meant to Last, and it is the 80/20 Superwash Merino nylon sock. It's 400 yards for 100 grams. It's a lovely yarn to work with. I've made several, two at least pairs of self-striping socks for myself with this. For for myself. I think both for myself, with this blend. So, they're so cute. Okay, so I decided to use this pattern that is a free pattern on Ravelry and new to me pattern. And it is called the Lettknit Basic Socks for Kids by Lettknit, who her name is Benta Scheid. Perhaps pronouncing that correctly. I did look it up, so I tried. Anyway, this is a free pattern for kids. So what I really wanted actually this time is because I have other free patterns in my library. I have other patterns that even include some kid versions, but a lot of them I feel like don't give enough kid sizes, and I want these to fit, and I don't want them to be too floppy. And also these are not kids in my house, so I just have to like make an estimate based on the size that their parents give me for shoe size. So this had a lot, like I just read through it and there was enough guidance on like picking size and like typical length of things before toes and stuff like that. So I'm just using these instructions, and they're like maybe 8 kid sizes in this, which I thought was a lot and good. So interestingly, it was like an entire, which I also think this is great for a gift knit. This is an entirely no leg. It's just a whole cuff of 2x2. Because it wasn't very long and it's not a lot of stitches, it's 44 stitches, y'all. This was a great option for me. So I did that. I did the heel. I decided on no contrasting color on this one because the color repeats end up being like kind of long, and I thought I could get most of a heel out of one, which I did, and just a little bit on the gusset pickup in that purple, and then more yellow, more purple. This color is so fun, this like super bright pink in there. And then yeah, I'm pretty close actually. Probably have to get through all of this yellow and maybe like 2 purple rows before I start the toe, and then the toe will likely be like nearly all purple with just a little bit yellow at the end. I don't know that I'm going to make them match or if I'll make them be different, because honestly, if I get into some yellow, I would just be like kind of opposite of this one, which might be really fun. So I think we'll see where I end before I decide, because I don't want to lose like it's probably not that much, probably like a whole 2 grams or something of yarn just to get to the other color. But we'll see. I will definitely finish these though before the end of the month, so I'll have one of my 2 November pairs done. If I'm lucky, I think I'm just gonna use this pattern for all 4 of these end ones. But what I might do for like the oldest kid is I might do like 2 to 4 inches of, probably like 4 inches of 2x2, and then some leg in stockinette, so it's a little bit more like a normal sock. But we'll see how I'm feeling. I did wind all 4 of those skeins though, and so this is all for my nieces and nephews, so I just need to cast them on and get them started. I also thought that this, like when it first, I was like, this is not big enough. Like, I see baby socks all the time. This is my youngest niece. She's a little over a year older than Theo, and they have the same size foot, although Theo's is wider. But I did try this on Theo and I was like, this is correct. Seems crazy. But yeah, I will probably actually block this one a little bit so that it's got just a little bit of that ribbing is open. There we are. I have not done it yet, but I think I'm going to go back and block all of the socks that I'm going to give away for Christmas, and some of them with blockers that have a lot of ribbing and some without, so that they've been washed once when I gift them. But I'm going to do that after Thanksgiving sometime and just lay all of them out except for these baby ones, and then do all the baby ones together. Okay, that's my plan. And those are my 2 new cast-ons. So that's all the projects that are on the needles right now, other than my book snake. Let's talk about that now as we move into those things. For anyone who doesn't remember, this is a pattern by Han Lee. Every time I pull this snake out, it's pretty hilarious. I'm not going to pull it out today because I put it really nicely in a coil in my bag where I've been storing it. So we're going to just leave it as the coil, and I'll just pull out enough to show you. I didn't stuff this because I did this last night. That's okay. And I'm missing one book. I finished one book like right before going to bed last night, and I was like, oh, I can do it in the morning. Listen, I need to film before my day starts, and I do not have time for that. So I will just tell you about that book so I don't forget it, and I'll just add it next week, and then, you know, we're one off, which is not a big deal. For anyone who doesn't remember, this is a book tracker that, or if you're new here, sorry. This is a book tracker that I started in July and caught myself up for the whole year. And so every week I talk about the books I read, and I get to show you the colors I add to the snake. Every snake gets 5 rows. I am holding, it's mostly DK. I'm holding fingering double for most of them, but some of them I just have DK. Sometimes I have sport and a lace, sometimes I have, or sport and a fingering. Sometimes this time I did a lighter DK and a fingering just because I wanted the colors together. Anyway, we'll get there. And I pick colors based on the book covers because I mostly read romance and fantasy. I am going to do a book tracker project next year because I've had fun with this, but I will not do a snake. And I don't know what I'll make, but it'll probably be socks. I think it's going to be socks. In which case I just have to pick one color, and I might do a color card next year. But I might break it out by like subgenre. I don't know. We'll sort of see. We'll see how crazy I want the socks to look. I'm okay with a crazy sock. You guys can give me your opinions too, but let's go into that later. This is where we are. So this first book here, I finished Tempted by Deception, which is the second of the Deception trilogy by Rina. This is the first books I finished from Rina. And I say finished because I started God of Malice and I didn't finish it before I went back to the library. And also because it was a little bit hard and I don't know if I'm going to pick it back up, but I think I will. Harder to read than this. She writes dark romance. The thing that I'm finding hard is I don't see a lot of redemption arc for this, and I kind of don't like both the characters. This one was interesting. So in the first book, there's a woman who gets taken off the street by a mafia guy who says, I'm going to frame you for this murder if you don't come pretend to be my wife. Okay, that's all the context you really need for how messed up this is. She's got some weird psychological things happening. Anyway, in the end, there's a big twist. And then we go back in time and we meet the wife and the mafia guy and their whole backstory. And that's like 6 years ago. And you go up to what may be right before we meet them in the first book, like the woman and the man in the first book. I don't know. I'm still uncertain because you left on a cliffhanger again. And I was like, what is the time period for these two stories to merge? I don't know. Then we got, so I'm going to finish the trilogy because it's just a trilogy and also because I'm curious. I don't know that I would recommend it to anybody right now. Let me see how it shakes out and then I can tell you. Okay. The second book here that I finished this week was Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is, can you focus there? This is the second of, actually, it doesn't even have like a series name, does it? It's not listed on here as a series name instead of Storygraph, but the first one of this was called Bride and then Mate. I did go back and listen to somebody's YouTube that was like 7 minutes to talk about what happened in Bride to catch you up for Mate because I wasn't going to go back and read it, but I really liked Bride. Mixed opinions on this. Everybody can have their own opinions about every book in the world, right? Like there are people who would never read any of the books I read and that is fine. You do not have to do that. I don't generally like to yuck people's yum. So like to each their own, right? But this one, I have issues with some of Ali Hazelwood's chosen tropes and or the way that she writes female characters in her like STEM books specifically. These are paranormal, everything goes here. This book we knew was coming because you are told at the very end a male wolf recognizes its mate like right in the end or maybe even in the epilogue, and then you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen? So they dig right into this. This is actually the best friend of the best friends equally of the couple. So the pack leader's like best friend who's another pack leader, and then the vampire, her best friend, who's the whole impetus of her looking for her in the first book. Anyway, it's so good. It's so good. I really enjoyed it. I thought that Cohen was like a really fun main male character. The reason they can't be together is a little bit like a little shocking. Like I knew there's a reason why this is happening. He's not just being an a-hole, but like he is just being one in the beginning. And you're like, what is going on? Because we know mates are we read the first book and we know it's like a critically important part of their lives if they can find them. Anywho, I had a great time reading it. The plot line in the background gave like more to this world, which I don't, she doesn't typically do a lot of world building, so there's not a ton of it in this, but it was good. The characters, the meeting the seconds, how they kind of function through their like figuring out their own mess of emotions and turmoil was great. Great fun. Loved it. Thought it was great. Okay. The third book I finished this week was The Frontrunner by Elsie Silver. This is the third of Gold Rush Ranch. You guys, I just finished this one here, which is a photo finish, right? So like this is 2 weeks apart, or 3 weeks apart. So like super close together. So this is the colors I picked, which I felt like was very reminiscent of like the field and like a little bit like the mountains in the background, like this kind of that color palette. These are pretty covers. I don't know that they have anything to do with anything. There's kind of like nature and there's like 2 people, but at least it's not like, yeah, I know. It's a fine cover. It doesn't show any like horses on it really, but whatever. This one is about, Stefan Dauka, who is the kind of villain in the first book, and Mira, who is the best friend of the main character in the first book. So it's a little bit like crossing enemy lines and other things, but she's a vet to the area, so she's his vet, and something happens with a young foal who needs a mare, and Stefan and her working together to like save this mare or save this foal, and it's like very cute and spicy. Good spicy. Stefan is he's a great main male character. Misunderstood. A little bit of not a nice guy to other people all of the time, but he has a good redemption arc in this. Like, I think she did a good job making him a relatable, likable character with a hard past where he is trying to just figure his stuff out. And he's trying to be a really good partner. Like, this is a big thing. Like, I thought it was good. I liked it. Okay. The next book I read was, actually another read with my eyeballs. I read it in like 2 days, y'all. Like, this is the fastest by far book that I read this year. I could not put it down. This was a suggestion from those bookstagrammers that I really liked that I talked about the other week. They were like, go read this book. It's amazing. And I was like, okay. This is a cover for this one. And this book is called Let Us Turn Up the Beat, which also is funny. It's just like a punny t-shirt that the one guy has, which also is, funnily enough, a like pajama set that I got like when Mike and I first started dating, which I thought was the most hilarious. Anyway, that's what it said on those pajamas. That's what it says on this guy's t-shirt. That's just like a funny thing in their meet cute of whatever. And not just one guy. There are 3. I don't know if 3 is always the magic number for these like reverse harem things. I mean, I guess there's a lot that have 4 or 5 or whatever. I'm reading one with 5 right now, but like 3 is pretty popular. Anywho, this is about Abby, who's like an influencer who's recently been burned in a relationship from a guy who just wanted more followers and to like, hitch his wagon to her star. And she breaks up with him and doesn't want anything to do with him. She does meet cute with the guy, and then she later finds out that he's a firefighter, and it's a small station outside of San Francisco or something in the Bay Area. I don't know if this is real about how firefighters work, but like basically they're like shift friends all together, and she goes to one of their shifts and drops off some donations that she had for Christmas donations for the fire station, and just like stuff for the firehouse, like games and a coffee maker, stuff like that, that she got from her followers. And she goes and drops them off. And of course, like all the guys are super hot and all of them happen to be single. And none of them have ever done this before, but they all magically have great chemistry and want to see where things go. And it all pretty much happens in this one day. It's Christmas Eve when she drops them off. And she's got a sad backstory. And she's basically just alone on Christmas. And they make her be not alone on Christmas. And it's spicy. It's real spicy. It's really just spicy fluff. The entire like 30% to 80% of this book, and I don't know the pages because again, on Kindle I can make the size however I want. Anyway, when I looked at it, it was like that. Like the spice was just that whole part. There was interjections of like their thoughts and feelings, and it switched all the characters' perspectives. But when I'm talking spicy. But it was really fun. Gets you in this holiday spirit in a different way. So yeah. Okay, so those are the 4 I made colors for. And then I will talk about the last one, which is called Wild Man. It is the second of the Dream Man series by Kristen Ashley. The first one I read was Mystery Man, which is that one that I told you was a Stephanie Plum fan fiction. Okay, there's more in this group of friends. This one doesn't, feels like its own story or whatever, but this one is about like totally, I mean, the male character for this one was cameoed in the first book, but not one of the main other guys that was like into Gwen. So I kind of like that because you get a little bit more time and stuff away from Gwen's other lovers or like people who wanted to be with Gwen. I don't know if those other two are going to come back because it was 3 guys who really liked her and then she picked one of them, right? This one, though, is about Slim, who has a cameo in that. And then Tess, who gets, like, scooped up into this girl group and has her friends. But she also has a friend named Martha. I don't know if Martha will be one of that. I don't know. I will read the rest of these books. Probably, I think there's only 4 in the series, and it's fun. Here's what I have to say about it. I am enjoying reading them. They give me the vibe. And I think maybe this is also why I said this about Stephanie Plum, is, like, it's very much like that. Like a lot of the dialogue specifically, like reads similarly to the Jen Ivanovich style of what she's like trying to make them sound like cool Jersey people. Maybe it's also the reader a little bit because I am doing audiobook for this. And it's also some of this like 2000s lingo. So like there's a cross section here that I find like kind of interesting. It's not got great banter, and like the way that all these cool dudes talk to the people in their life, all the people in their life, it's like, you get me, stuff like that. Like, I'm just like, I'm having a fine time reading them, but I do have to kind of just put myself in the headspace that this is going to be, like slightly silly. You know who else reminds me of this? Like Lauren Dane. So these books are also a little bit older, like 2000s. And it's just like the way that they're writing, like the dialogue and like the being cool people in their 30s is slightly strange. I do really appreciate though, these are more mature FMCs and MMCs. So like this couple is in their 40s. They're like established human beings who both have careers, have past marriages, like have things going on that like make some of their decisions and how they make moves towards each other even like make more sense to me as a person who is also, no longer 20. So I'm appreciating that. I'm really enjoying it. So that's the last one. I'll get that color added this week, and then I will catch up hopefully next week. It's really hard when I end books on Wednesday. Maybe I gotta try to end some more books on Tuesday or something like that. But yeah, so that's it for the week. I don't really have much else to share. I am still undecided on spinning. I need to get the last of the fiber that was, I'd have a little left over from, I didn't even say this, from my one bobbin, which actually ended up being my faster spin bobbin, just a tiny bit, but I'm so close. I'm still glad I did that because otherwise it would have been like more imbalanced. So I will get that off onto my monster skein this week. And then I'll have clear bobbins, and I need to figure out what I want to spin next. I do want to do at least maybe like one more spin project before the end of the year. And I don't know that I want to bite off something big though. So some of these things I might hold off. The thing I'm currently thinking about a lot is a drum carder. That sounds crazy. Hear me out here. I've been looking into different versions, different ways where you can buy them, like the TPIs and other things like that, and just like what use I want to have. So if you have any opinions, let me know. If you have one and you really like it, can you post it below and just tell me like what's your favorite thing about it? Is it pretty easy to use as a newbie? It's kind of like with my wheel when I purchased it. Yes, the Kiwi was cheaper, but I knew I wanted something that would last a little longer for me. And so I talked to my friends and some other people and did some research and ended up on the Ladybug because it's kind of a good for a lot of things wheel. It's not super specific for any particular thing. So there's some wheels that like if you really like to spin a certain thing, like it may be better suited for you. But this is kind of like a really good overall. Plus it has a Scotch tension so I can rewind on it to, other things like that made that better for me. The double treadle, all those pieces. For the drum carder, I want something that will help me to turn some of my comb tops, especially the ones like maybe even these ones here, right? These ones specifically, like I don't have any plans for. I don't really love them very much and would maybe like to transform the colors a little more before I spin it. Whether that's taking out the yellow entirely when I feed it into the thing, or using the yellow plus a deeper color in there to like get me some bats that I could practice also long draw. So it would be a semi-woolen prep because it doesn't give you a full woolen spun when you do the bat, but you can more randomize the fibers and make it floofy. So I can do supported long draw to spin some things that are just like lighter and floofier. Now I'm not going to do that with all of the braids that I have left or anything, but there are some where I feel like it would be fun to play with that as an idea. And also I've got some like Gotland locks, and I've got some other things. I got Finn that like Sylvan gave me that is a prepped roving, but is not long drawable because it's just too sticky the way it's prepped. So that's one thing that I could like feed back through. Maybe you have opinions about this. I don't know. To help give me a smoother bat. And I think that I need like the higher TPIs, but I mean, that's also the question is like, do you have like a preference? I've read a lot of things. Some people are diehard on the 72 is enough for everything. This means teeth per inch inside of the cardon cloth. So like what's on the drum carder and what's on like the front one, maybe if you're going to use that. Some people just paint it on and they don't use the front one really. But I've also heard like 90 is a good workhorse for everything, especially if you're gonna do merino in it. I would eventually use this to do a fleece. That is a longer term from now, like maybe 5+ years at least from now thing, I think, hopefully, maybe. Actually, here's the real thing. I don't think I would mind processing a pre-cleaned fleece. I don't want to clean the fleece. I know you can get them pre-cleaned. I know they're cheaper to get them uncleaned, but I don't want to do that step. At least for my first one, to see if I even like this before I invest all that time, water, drying space, smell into the cleaning process. So this could be a potential thing. One of my friends, I don't think she has it here, but her grandma did give her a flicker, like a picker. So we have a picker amongst our friend group, and so we need a carder. One of our friends does have one, but she lives the furthest from us, and so it's not easy to like give back and forth. And then if you don't see them for a long time, but they want to use it, it's kind of a big trip to trade on and off. But we're sort of thinking we need one here on the north end, and I have space in my house to store this, and also, you know, people use it here or to borrow it. So we're kind of thinking of one that will meet a lot of needs. If you have opinions, I'd love to hear them. Right now, I'm looking most closely at Fancy Kitty and Brothers. There's one other one that I was looking at from a Etsy shop that's like based out of Kentucky. And I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, I don't know. I don't have anything what I want to do. I do know I don't want something that has a really long turnaround time, and I know I don't want something that is going to cost like boku bucks. We're talking like relatively affordable, but also something that again is going to last. Tell me your opinions. Thank you. Okay. And if you have no opinions, but you're really excited for the journey, let me know that too, because we'll figure out here together what we're going to buy. Though I really may buy it Black Friday if anybody's having a sale. So this might happen pretty quickly. But again, if you have opinions, let me know. So 2 fun things to go over before I sign off, which I totally forgot about these, but I don't want to miss it. Trisha sent us an email yesterday or the day before that the Podcaster Collection 1.0 is coming back. And I said that maybe it was going to be in November and I wasn't sure when. She emailed us to let us know it's coming back. So I'm very excited to tell you that Small Business Saturday, 24 hours only. And I think it's going to be whatever she said. So go to her Instagram or go to her wherever, if you, her website, if you want to know more. She might have it up on the website now with more information of like the actual like time zone times it's going to be open. But she said 24 hours only. It will be open for Small Business Saturday for you to order any of the colors from the first Podcaster collection. So if you missed my color or Marlene's, Casey from Young Folk Knits, Ariel from Airy Knits, or Emily from Gently Chaotic Knits, if you missed any of our colors, go check it out. I'm really excited that she's bringing those back. I just did my 3-ply for the potentially traveler shawl. We'll see when I end up knitting. For and I got some colors for my Ariel colors here. So yes, anyway, very excited for that to happen. And I always love to hype Trisha. She was so fun to work with for the collaboration. She gave us that nice discount. There's no discount this time, I don't think, unless there's just something on her website. But she's also just like, she's such an awesome human, and her colors are phenomenal. So like, obviously I loved my sweater that I made so much and loved the colors for my colorway. I'm honored if anybody picks that one. But if your palette is not mine, she has really good options for a like really fall-y tones, and then this like Ariel's this like light spring kind of like summery tones. So yeah, anyway, very fun. Okay, let's do the last thing I want to tell you about. I'm not going to bring up a picture again. Actually, maybe I will. I'm going to flash one picture of her feed, but every day, Jess from Witchfire Fibers is hitting me right in my heart, the deepest part of my heart. You know, I love Throne of Glass. I just did a reread this past year when I made my Compass Crew with Take It Off. I love this series. I love all the things. I love the characters. I love how much growth all of the characters have. I love the sad parts and the happy parts and the very small amount of spice. Let's be real, people. This is not a spicy series. There's some spicy scenes, but there's thousands of pages of non-spicy. It's so good. Okay. These colors are killing me. She told me there's going to be jewel tones. The blue she did yesterday is everything. It's a Dorian color. They're two Dorian colors here, the blues. Whew. Those ones were new. They really hit me hard. She has more tonals coming. I'm excited for y'all to see it. So I'll keep talking about this. She is not paying me to do this. I am not an affiliate for her at all. This is just something that I love. You know, I love the intersection of books and knitting and yarn and other things. And so I'm going to talk about this one because I love it so much and because I'm making plans and I want you to make plans with me. Here's my one enabler moment today. There you go. Okay. So as always, I'd love to know what you've been working on this week. Tell me if you didn't join in the conversation last week, what are your fall knitting plans, or what are your like 2026 plans, things, goals that you're setting for yourself, or the end of the year? What are you trying to get, caught up on or finish? I want to always know those things. I want to know what you're working on right now and what's bringing joy. Anything you know about drum carders that could be helpful here, or if you just want to hear the story, let me know that. Yeah, and let me know what you're thinking or planning for Witchfire Fibers. If you want to share that below because, whatever reasons, you could always also message me. I'm always available on Instagram and Discord and on Ravelry too, if that's a place where you go to send messages. So I always have fun talking with y'all. I hope that you have a really nice day, night, weekend, whenever you're watching this, that you're getting some fun crafting done and that you stretch and get some movement in. I will talk to you next week.